Development at the grassroots is as important as development at the urban centers. Carrying people that are disabled along is as important as catering for the welfare of people that are able. This is what we are going to be discussing today. We are going to be looking into the development at the grassroots and CSDP, that is Osun Agency for Community and Social Development Projects, as a stakeholder. What has this agency done in the past years? How can communities and people from the rural areas apply for projects that will be funded by this agency? These are what we are going to be discussing today. And our guest today is the General Manager of the agency, Mrs. Funmi Abokede. She's going to be telling us what they have done and how they have been able to achieve it. And moving forward, what are the ways that other people can come on board to ensure that we have community at the rural area? This is Insightful Moment. I am Jare Tiamiyu. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
I'm inspired by what Inside Links Media, what they are doing. They are doing a very, very good job, and I want you to keep listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jare. Come back. As I said earlier, our discussion today shall be on grassroots development and CSDP as a stakeholder. And we'll be discussing with the General Manager of CSDP. When I mean CSDP, I mean Community and Social Development Projects. That is who we are going to be discussing today, is Mrs. Funmi Abokede. GMA, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
You are welcome, ma. We want to be discussing the issue of development at the grassroots, and how are the people at the rural areas, how are they getting social amenities, the needed facilities in their areas. Let's talk about CSDP at the grassroots development agency. Since you have become the general manager, how has the agency fared in the areas of giving people at the rural area the needed developments?
Okay, thank you very much. The agency, as it's been called, is Osun Agency for Community and Social Development Project. It is saddled with responsibility of funding projects for the needs of the communities. And this agency is being funded by the state government of Osun and the World Bank. And we must be able to thank the governor, our governor, Alhaji Boyega Tola, for his responsiveness to the contribution of the state counterpart fund. And this has also made the World Bank to contribute their aspect too. So it's the money that we get from the state government and the World Bank that is used to fund projects demanded by the communities. And the approach utilized is what we call Community-Driven Development Approach, CDD.
Okay. CDD, can you explain that?
Yeah, CDD is an before there's always been the top-down approach, where government before used to just supply. Oh, this community, let's go and give them power. This community, go and give them road. And this has always been not the need of the people. There were disconnects between the need of the people and the project provided. So then came the paradigm shift that we call the CDD, the bottom-up approach, which is demand-driven. The beneficiaries are not passive; they are active. They are the actors. They are the ones that drive the process. Because he who wears the shoes know where it pinches. The communities are the ones that know what they need, what their needs are. So they are the ones that actually say this is what they need. And then when it comes to implementation, they are the ones that also will implement the projects. However, there's a process in which they get to that level.
Okay.
Yeah, there is what we call participatory rural appraisal, which is the need assessment. That's how the needs come about of the communities. And the communities are divided into 5 groups in order to ensure that voice is given to the voiceless, there is social inclusion, that there's no one that is neglected. When you look at the project, the goal of the project is to increase access of the poor to social amenities and natural resources, infrastructures in a sustainable manner. And this is also in alignment with the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals,
Yes,
that
we'll get to
leave
that.
nobody behind. So it emphasizes so much on social inclusion, just as it is an alignment with the state development plans of under our able leadership of our governor, that there must be social inclusion, and then the gender aspect of it is also considered. So during the needs assessment, the communities are divided into 5. You have the women group, the elderly, the youth, the men, and then those who are vulnerable in the society. So just to ensure that they also have a say. So their needs are also incorporated and mainstream into the needs of the community. So these are how they come about their needs. And to ensure that they also have a say and they are stakeholders, whatever it be the amount that is going to be the project, they contribute 10% of it. This is to ensure ownership, that they see themselves as also owners, while the government will now give the 90%. And this 90% is paid in tranches. So whenever they are able to identify what their needs are and what intervention, what projects will address their needs, so they now come up with the amount that will be needed. Then our agency funds it. We are the ones that facilitate the participatory rural appraisal for them to come with the needs they look at. And this has really worked, because when you say now there's ownership, they have a say, they have a voice in it. So there's ownership, the project is also sustained. They say it as theirs and they own it. That's the beauty of the project. And it also serves their needs. Their needs are met. And when you look at the implementation, because the project it's meant to reduce poverty. When you look at poverty is multidimensional concept. It's not only lack of economy, it's also lack of participation. When you are not able to participate, you are poor. When you are excluded, you are poor. And when you don't even have access to amenities that you need, you are also poor. So that's the way we look at poverty. We look at it holistically from the way it is. And the way the project is being implemented, the communities, the benefiting communities are the ones that will implement the project. So they democratically elect people that will manage the project for them. And these people are called Community Project Management Committee, CPMC. And we have the first level, which there are 11 of them. But when you want to look at it, we've said we focus so much on gender as well.
Yes.
We ensure that gender is also put on our gender lens in this project. And the project we have the chairman for the CPMC, that's those that will manage the project. You have the treasurer, you have the financial secretary, you have the auditor, all those positions. But then we look at it that there are gender gaps all over. Gender gap in development. How do we then address it? Then we now come up with an affirmative action. Affirmative action to now say, okay, it is a gender quota that we're going to use to address the gender gap in development.
That is goal 5 of SDGs.
FSDG that we're looking at. So we now said, okay, the position of treasurer is exclusively reserved for women. And we know the fact that because we know that women are better managers of funds. From research, even at home, women know how to keep money than men, and we can also see it happening even all over. So the women now are the treasurer, and that is why we are able to have women in very key position when it comes to the gender quota for the project. And we've seen it work. That has also made women to have a voice. But maybe I might just try to digress a little bit. From what we have been able to observe on this project, I want to also advise even politically that we should try to have a gender quota in our political system in Nigeria. That will also help women to be in
you mean the 35% affirmative action?
And not only just reserve 35%, maybe be specific that certain positions should be reserved for women. And by the time you look at it, this position exclusively reserved for women, then it helps. That's just by the way. It's not really the CSDP, but then just trying to talk about the advantage of gender quota and the advantage of affirmative action. It actually helps to address gender gaps.
So let's now go into the areas you cover, what areas are we talking about? Or is it just every project that any community can just wake up? Even if there is naming, they can just wake up and say, we have a burial ceremony for our community leader. Or what are the projects that you actually
The projects that are being undertaken, it's common good.
Okay.
Common good of the people. These are projects that it's going to serve the generality of the people. It's not about individual. That is why projects like Palace is not being funded.
Okay.
It's not being funded. It's not part of the fundable project. So we have list of fundable projects that are funded. The one that will serve the common good of the people. And when you look at it, they're the ones that are really entrenched in the SDG. The one that will address poverty, the one that will really focus on human capital development. So we have that of the schools are the education sector. That is why the project that we fund are into 8 sectors.
Okay.
There are 8 sectors. We have that of transportation, we have education, we have water, health center, socioeconomic, environment, and gender and vulnerable. These are the sectors. And then the project that fall under these sectors, we call it micro projects.
Okay.
Micro projects. They're not meso and they're not mega projects. They are projects that the communities can be able to manage, maintain, and sustain. So it's just what is within the level of the community.
Like, how much are we talking about? What is the limitation? Maybe is it just open?
No, okay. It's
like,
the amount that is getting, there's something we call community development plans.
Yes.
The communities need to come up with their plans for their community. And in these community development plans, we call it's a portfolio of micro projects. At least 2 micro projects must be in that community development plans. And that is the community development plans that, by the time they go to the field, after the participatory rural appraiser, there's what we call the field appraiser. When they look at the field appraiser to look at it, by the time you come out and say this is the amount that this project will cost, then people, experts from the relevant ministries will also look at it and come up with what we call BEME. It's the technical language.
Okay.
They come up with the amounts that should be. Then and it is brought to our agency. We now sit on it, what we call management technical review.
Okay.
We look at it. And is this project fundable? Has it passed all the necessary requirements that we want it to require? Does it have the CPMC? Does it have the 10% contribution? Does it is it also in alignment with the state development plans as well as the local government development plans? Once we see that this is okay, then we now say it's approved for funding. And in that CDP, what we call the CDP, the maximum envelope is 10 million.
The maximum
envelope is 10 million.
It's 10 million.
And the project must be at least 2 micro projects. Yes,
Okay.
and it can be more than that. So it depends on the needs of the people.
Okay, ma. Before we continue, we'd like to go on a very short break. But when we come back, we'll try to look at how community can apply, and then what are the things that they must have actually done in their own area before they come and apply, and the connection between the CSDP programs and Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. You have mentioned some, but we have to go deeper into that. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Marie Lomikwida, Chief Press Secretary to Governor Adigbo Gawetola of the state of Osun. Keep watching Inside Media.
You are welcome back. My guest once more is Mrs. Funmi Abokede, the General Manager of Osun Agency for Community and Social Development Agency. That is what we are discussing today. What we are discussing today is development at the grassroots, CSDP as a stakeholders. Ma, you are talking about the less privileged, the people with disabilities here and there. How are you ensuring that they are living a better life?
Yes, that's the beauty of this project. This project is in about 30 states in Nigeria, but I want to say that when it comes to mainstreaming disability into development, Osun is leading when it comes to that. Yes, and because our governor Alhaji Gawetola is also sensitive about the persons with disabilities, the vulnerable groups, and just as the state development agenda is also focusing on these sustainable development goals, which says that leave nobody behind. So everybody is also included in it. And we have a sector, a component by the World Bank, which is to support the World Bank, is given to the state government, and a particular sector which we call gender and vulnerable sector. So that gives space for persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups to benefit from the project. When I was talking about the contribution by the community that is going to be 10%, these people, they are within the community, so they come up with, we form them into groups. They are groups, and then the groups can be maybe according to their vulnerability, or it can be homogeneous group, it can be heterogeneous group. So it all depends on the group formation as the group members really want it. And they will now contribute 5% because they are vulnerable, because of vulnerability. So they contribute 5% and not 10%. Okay. So, and then we also have, because the way the state is, we have people who are also, supporting the vulnerable groups to say that, yes, they're able to access the funding and they are able to come up with their 5%. So when they come up with their 5%, the persons with disability in Osun today, we have about 95 group micro projects that has been funded for
people with disability,
for persons with disability, and then some other vulnerable groups. The persons with disability, they're into 5 groups. You have the spinal cord group injury, you have those with visual impairment, we have those with hearing impairment, we have those with intellectual disability, and you have those that are physically challenged. So there are 5 groups of recent, and the albinos are also part of them. Okay. And these groups have benefited from the project. And I want to make it clear, after they completed their project last year, the governor, Alhaji Boyega Oyetola, celebrated the day with them. 3rd December is always the day for persons with disability annually, to really celebrate them, to mark them. So that last year was the year when he now commissioned 6 micro projects that is socially inclusive for persons with disability. One of it is a Brave Press Center, which is first of its kind in Southwest, where there will be tripartite management, the state government.
And where's that one located?
It's located at the School of Special Needs Primary School in Osogbo. That's where the Brave Press Center is. It's a tripartite management by the blind group themselves, the state government, and the World Bank, funding the project together. So the project is funded by them, and the Brave Presser is there. Now the people with visual impairment are not left behind. They are being able to mainstream into education. They can be able to, the books now are now, in the readable format for people that have visual impairment. So that is helping, and it's also enhancing the education. For the girls' hostel, these days we are talking rape is an issue now.
Yes.
And when you look at the girls who are vulnerable, who are even with disability, is it a blind person that will know that she wants to be raped? She only signs, but she will not see the person. She cannot see the person. So it makes her more vulnerable. The one that is physically challenged is seeing the person but cannot run. The one that is deaf or dumb the one that is deaf can see, but she cannot, talk, that people can really know that she's in danger. So their own vulnerability is a double vulnerability, apart from the fact that they are girls, which makes them vulnerable to rape, because they are also having living with disabilities, it also makes them vulnerable. But now with the girls' hostel, which is fortified, which has been funded by CSDP, it's now fortified. It was one of the projects that the governor commissioned December last year for these girls. So these girls now are protected. They are secured. So the probability of rape in their hostel is negligible or totally absent now, because they're already protected. Then we also have the physically challenged group. They have their own skill acquisition center, which I will call it like an incubation center. They're already producing shoes. They are making bags. So these ones now are already into economic empowerment. They are really living a good life now. And they are also not having what we call social exclusion. They are inclusive. We also have those ones that are also being supported with tricycles. That was also commissioned by the governor last year. Now we have the spinal cord group. The spinal cord group injured, spinal cord injury group. Those are suffering from spinal cord injury. They have come together and formed a group. So they are also being funded with a psychosocial center, support center at Eduardo, where they come together once a month to give themselves psychosocial support to encourage themselves. And from there again, the project also has supported them with medical equipment, the wheelchairs they use, the other things, the medical materials they use to pack themselves, as they are also being given. The other project that they have not been given is occupational therapy, which can be able to bring in money. So they have a transportation, a bus that is serving the whole group. When they want to come for their meeting, the bus takes them there. And when they're not having their meeting, this bus goes to work. So the money they get together, the money that bus raises, they put it together and divide among themselves. So this helps to keep them going. So this has actually brought succor into their lives. And their lives are no longer miserable. So there are differences in their life, even in health-wise. They have an esteemed well-being. Their life is now esteemed, and they have improved well-being, improved healthy living. That is what they are having now. So there's indeed empowerment now in the lives of persons with disabilities. They now have a voice. They're no longer voiceless. We also have the support is also given to the orphans and vulnerable children. Educational support is given to orphans and vulnerable children. So some of these children that are even living with HIV/AIDS, so they have support, they have education for them, school that makes them to ensure that they are at school, and as well as nutritional support. So these children will not be having what we call kwashiorkor, or stunted growth, when they're not having good food to eat. So there's educational support to ensure that they grow well, and educational support as well to ensure that they are in school when they should be in school, so that they can grow up to become responsible citizens.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Now that you have done all this, especially for the disabled, how are you monitoring them? How are you ensuring that what you have given to them and then the track that you have actually, laid for them, how are you ensuring that they are still on that track?
Yes, there's proper monitoring that we're looking at it. And then the support to the vulnerable groups, we're seeing the difference. Particularly, I want to talk of the spinal cord group. There's a guy there, Damilola, is a young guy. And because of the support that has been given to them, we said psychosocial support has been given to them, occupational therapy has been given to them, medical therapy has been given to them. So this has improved his lifestyle, and he's been able to now come up and utilize his talent very well. And this is one of the things we are seeing, that he was able to do a prototype building, and he has a lot of it. This one he has bought now. It's because of the support that he got that has made him to be comfortable, that he's been able to come up with his own potential. So, by the time support is given to persons with disability, their potentials are able to be brought out. And with this one, I know he can even go places, because he's doing a lot. He already is designing an helicopter already. But if he was in pains and no medical support, no psychosocial support, there is no way we're able to put himself together to come up with this. So that has gone a long way to come up with. And I'm calling out on well-meaning Nigerians to see how they can support persons with disabilities. They all have ability. There is ability in disability.
Ma, that's a very wonderful one. But very shortly, I would like you to give us the processes, that the communities will undertake when applying for projects with CSDP. How would they go about it? And the people at the grassroots, how are you ensuring that they have the knowledge? Because there are places where they are having flooding, there are places even in Osun where there are no borehole waters, and a lot of things that they can actually lay hands to. How are you ensuring that the information get to the grassroots?
Yes, we ensure that we partner with people like you, the media. So we tell them the process, we tell them so that they can know. We try to use the radio to communicate with them. We also go to the community development associations to let them know. So these ones, they are aware, they know about it. And that is why today, as of today, we have 1,280,145 beneficiaries that have benefited from Osun CSDP funding. And they are in 407 poor communities. And then we have 36 vulnerable groups that has also benefited. To date, we have 608 gender-sensitive, socially inclusive, multisectoral projects completed, funded, and they are functional, being used by the different poor communities. And we also ensure that we get to the hard-to-reach communities like Idiako in Ife South. These are very hard-to-reach communities. I remember when I was going there during the rainy season, we really had problems getting to that place. Our vehicles lost control of itself because of the bad terrain. The vehicle actually turned. It was that, but we still made sure that we got to that place. Now today, those people now have access to good schools, because before the school was built 50 years ago, dilapidated, bad shape, that the children were not going to, because of fear of danger of their life, they were not going to school as they should. But with this project that has funded educational project, now they have good schools. Many thanks to our governor for the support, Alhaji Boye Goyetola, for the support is given to the agents. That's made it possible. Now the idea of now that those hard-to-reach communities, they now have good schools for the children. The children are attending schools regularly. There is increased attendance of the children, and there is increased retention of the children, so that they can really come up and become good children. So we have these ones already as testimony that we have. And these communities also are able to tell other communities that go to CSDP, if you come there, you'll be funded. We also have the hard-to-reach community like Gafulani. They stay right in the remote areas. They also benefited from water. Before they used to have bad source of water, now they have good water, and they were able to testify that yes, because Gafulani is in Orolu local government, that yes, now they can get good water. That before then they used to have typhoid, dysentery, cholera before the intervention. But with the intervention now, they now have good water. Poverty has been reduced because the money they would have been using to be buying drugs, treating themselves, that money they're using to do some productive things in their life. So this has brought positive changes in their life. And I want to say that this project, in fact, is contributing, and will continue to contribute to the state development agenda of the governor, Alhaji Boye Goyetola, which has 4 pillars: economic development, human capital development. When you look at all these projects, they feed into it. The electrical project, rural electrification, it's helping to contribute to the economic development, because many communities that didn't have electricity before now have it. We have Araromi Omu, in Olonda local government. They never had access to electricity for the past 15 years. Now they have it, and the difference is there now. There's cottage industries, coming up in that area. We have in Edado, Ijesha. Those two never had electricity before, not until the funding from this project. And that is the difference we are seeing in the economic development. And we have about 187 of electricity projects that has been funded in Osun through the CSDP, which has brought differences into the lives of the people. When we want to talk about it, we go on and go on. The water project is there. And again, I want to say something. Okay. Osun, as a state, is an agrarian community. Our major occupation is farming. So the project has helped a lot, because many of the farm lands didn't have access road. So many of them used to experience post-harvest wastages because they would not have how to bring their produce to the market. But now with the project, it has helped to open access road to the farmlands. We have like Agboro Olota in Rewole local government. There's that has been opened. Now they can bring their farm produce to the market. So the farmers are well placed. Now they can really enjoy dividend of their labor And this is also enjoying dividend of democracy via the assistance the governor is giving to the state. We have also in Muwaba, you can see that now, there's opening of road, major road also in Ire. This had to the farmlands, where we have the farmlands, where we have the farm, the production of agricultural produce, and they are coming out. Now we want to talk about the health sector. There is now reduction in maternal mortality because there are primary health centers in the rural areas, which ordinarily before they could have brought maybe a woman that wants to labor, before they could bring the woman to major city, that woman could have given up. But with those primary health center in Mokpa, you can see it there, and then these women can really access the health center quickly, which is helping to save life and reducing maternal and infant mortality.
All right, ma. Thank you so much for that explanation. Briefly, because we have a very short minute now, we have very few number of minutes. Ma, I would like you to talk about the relationship with ORAP, and on one hand, and in the other hand, how are you working with Office of the SDGs in the state or at the federal level?
Yes, we work together in order to build synergy to ensure that there's development for the people. And for ORAM is a project like Osun CSDP is being funded by the World Bank and the state government, and they are into opening of roads, so they focus also on roads, basically on roads. While road is just one of the projects that we focus on, but they majorly focus on the road. So the road that we are not, maybe we cannot, they'll take it up. So there is kind of a continuation. We have that synergy that we build relationship with ourselves. With the SDG, yes, we are guided by the 17 Sustainable Development Goals is guiding what we are doing. No zero hunger, no poverty, health, the gender, the environment, education. So all these things are what we focus on, and we look to ensure that whatever we are doing is also in alignment with the SDG, and we're also looking at the 2030 that it should be doable for us in Nigeria, that we should be able to achieve it. So
thank you so much, ma. That has been a very fulfilling session with you, especially considering the fact that we have been able to talk about the rural developments. Thank you very much, ma. It has been a wonderful session with Mrs. Funmi Abokede, the General Manager of Osun CSDP.
My name is Rashid Adebi. I'm a lecturer. I'm a public affairs analyst. I want to say that you keep watching Insight Media Television, one of the credible online TV stations in Osun.
That was our session with Mrs. Funmi Abokede, the General Manager of Osun Agency for Community and Social Development Agency. And she has been able to tell us what the agency has done, how they have been able to fund it, what the challenges they are facing, and the importance of this project, most especially considering the fact that it belongs to the community, and community are taking responsibility in ensuring that the project lasts long. We will continue to ask questions, and we'll continue to investigate what this agency is doing and what they have done in the past. That is our session for today. I am Jare Tiamiyu. Special shout out to all my crew members, Ido Ubamidele, Mayowa Ajayi, Said Zakaria, Aisha, Fatima, and Toby. Thank you for working with me. Till some other time, I say have a wonderful day. Bye for now.